Isn't this relaxing? Hanging out by the fire out here together feels so nice. I know, right? I was thinking about reading a scary story out here. I brought a book. Would you like me to read it?
Sure.
Okay. This book is called La Llorona. Apparently, it's a Mexican legend. It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. Please read it.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman. Her name was Maria. She married a very handsome man named Milo Cutter.
Hey, that's our dad's name. Our dad must be in the story.
At first, their marriage was going great, but over time, they didn't love each other as much as they used to. They started having lots of fights and began to hate each other. 5 years into their marriage, Maria gave birth to 2 kids, Brian and Angela. Unfortunately, by the time Brian and Angela were born, Milo and Maria had already stopped loving each other. They ended up getting a divorce a week after the 2 kids were born.
Wow, our names are in the story too. Is the story about us?
I don't know. Let's keep reading. 3 days after the divorce, Maria took her 2 babies to a river. She hated how they looked so much like their dad, and she wanted Milo to feel heartbroken. So she threw her kids into the river.
What? How are we still alive if she threw us into the river?
Just as Brian and Angela were about to drown in the water, a magical fish caught them and brought them to land on the other side of the river, and they survived. But Maria didn't see this happen. She thought her children were dead, and she started to really regret what she did. She started wandering on the river, looking for her babies. She started sobbing very loudly and kept shouting for her children. This is how she got the name La Llorona, which is Spanish for the weeping woman. To this day, she's still wandering around rivers, crying for her children.
Whoa, so our mom threw us in a river and has been crying for us at the river these last 10 years, thinking we're dead? That's so horrible. Dad, is this story true? I know it's just a legend, but it sounds so possible.
Actually, I somewhat think it might be true. A lot of things in that story were true. Your mother's name was Maria, and we did have you guys 5 years into our marriage. And we did get a divorce a week after you guys were born. 3 days after our divorce, your mom took you guys somewhere, and I didn't know where she took you or what she was doing with you guys because I was at home, and I trusted her to be good with you guys because she had been a somewhat good mother to you guys before the divorce. She just wasn't a good wife. But that night, the police brought you guys to my house, and they said that you guys were left unattended near a river, and they didn't know where Maria was. I never saw her again after that day. That story explains a lot. Maybe your mother did throw you guys into the river on that day. Maybe you were saved by a magical fish. Maybe that's why you were found beside the river. Maybe your mother is La Llorona.
I don't know. This is just a legend. It could be fake. I don't know. Sometimes legends are true. Remember when we were in kindergarten and our teacher told us the story of the legend of Terry?
Children, today for story time, I will read to you the legend of Terry. Once upon a time, there was a red rectangle-shaped demon alien named Terry. He came from a planet called Turzos. One day, he came to Earth. When he got there, he was kidnapped by an unidentified man. This man taught Terry how to enter computers and put viruses on them. And this became Terry's favorite hobby. Typically, Terry would pop up on someone's computer screen and give their computer the Terry error. In the Terry error, there would be 5 chances. Each time the computer was turned off by the user, a chance was wasted. Typically, the user would use up all 5 chances, and Terry would jump out of the computer and physically attack the people using the computer. The police would usually be called, but Terry always ran away before being caught. Then, Terry would go on to do the exact same thing to someone else. Terry kept giving this same computer virus to many people for years, and he'll keep doing it until he eventually gets caught by the police and successfully locked away, which has yet to happen.
And then, in episode 5, that whole thing happened to us. Terry put the Terry error on our computer, and we had 5 chances. And of course, we used them all, and then he jumped out of our computer and attacked us. The only part of the story that didn't happen was Terry running off and getting away with what he did. When he did it to us, he actually got arrested and imprisoned for cybercrime and assault. I guess that means we're the last of Terry's victims. Okay, but this isn't about Terry. It's about La Llorona and the fact that she could be your mother. Yeah, I know. I was just using Terry as an example of legends coming true. Dad, could you take us to see La Llorona? After hearing the story Mr. Hurley told us, I'm pretty sure La Llorona is her mom. I want to meet her, and I have lots of questions to ask her.
Are you sure about that? La Llorona is a very dangerous woman, and she literally tried to drown you guys, and there's still a chance that she isn't your mother. Are you sure you still want to go and see her?
Yes. If she's her mom, I want to meet her and confront her for what she did. If we don't find out the truth about La Llorona, it'll never get out of my head.
Well, okay, I guess it's worth a shot. But even if she is your mother, don't expect me to remarry her. After what she did, there's no way we were ever getting back together. But if you really want to meet her, I guess we can try just this once. I think we are here. You know, that lady over there does not look like your mother at all. I don't think it's her, but let's try this. My children, please come back to me. I don't know about this, kids. This woman doesn't look or sound like my ex-wife at all. What the heck are you talking about? Who are you and what made you think I was your ex-wife? I have never seen you before. I'll explain everything. You see, earlier today, me, my kids, my friends, and their kids decided to come over and hang out at my house for a movie night. A while after the movie was over, we decided to hang outside by a campfire and read scary stories. One of my kids' friends' dads decided to read a story about Llorona. In case you didn't know, my name is Milo Cutter, and my kids are Brian and Angela. The story said that you, Maria, married me, Milo, and we had 2 kids named Brian and Angela, and we divorced a week after Brian and Angela were born. 3 days later, you took Brian and Angela to the river and threw them into a river expecting them to drown, but a magical fish saved them while you weren't aware. That whole story's a lie. I did not marry Milo Cutter. You don't even look like my ex-husband. I married a rich Mexican man, and we first settled in Mexico, not here in the US. The reason I'm right here in the US right now is because I'm always wandering to random rivers all over the place because my children could be anywhere. And I know for a fact that none of you are Mexican. Also, my children weren't babies when I threw them into the river. They lived for several years before me and my husband split up, and they were school-age children when I drowned them. And your kids look nothing like the kids I had. I usually confuse random kids for my own, but your kids look so different from mine that I can tell that they aren't my kids. You see, there are tons of versions of my story, and most of them are made up. Your version of my story is one of the made up ones, but you didn't know that because clearly you've never heard the story with La Llorona. Now can you all get lost so I can continue to mourn my real children? Okay, we will go. I'm sorry. Thank you for explaining everything to us. Sorry kids, we have to go home. This isn't your mother. The book Steve's dad read to us was just make-believe, and we should have known. I have no idea how the author of that book knew our names and everything about me and your mom's marriage, minus her throwing you into the river, which didn't happen. I have no idea what your mom did, but it was definitely something totally different. Okay, now that they are gone, I may now continue. Come back, my sweet children!
Well, I'm glad that her mom hasn't been wandering around rivers thinking we were dead these last 10 years, but I'm a little disappointed because I thought we would actually get to meet Mom.
Aw, I know. It's a shame, but at least you have me. I would do anything for you kids. It's a shame that you have to grow up without a mother, but we just have to make the best of it.
That's true. I don't really need a mom because I have you, and you do the job of a mother and a father at the same time. I love you, Dad.
I love you too. I love both of you very much.